Shut up and sit down.
Hello, welcome to HJBC for Reddit iRacing League coverage, and this week it's something a little bit different. It's the Dirt Legends around the Rallycross layout at Phoenix International Raceway. We've got heats, consolations, and then a feature coming up, but right now it's Heat 1, and on pole position for that is Alex Albert. Joining him in that heat is going to be Jeremy Rogers, Daniel Bartz, Dylan Blanton, David K. Hall, Christopher Flamian, and Philip Linden. And they're just getting ready to go now. I think a few of them may have jumped to the start there. So this is going to be a very interesting one to watch as they get away. Contact already. Philip Linden getting into the 37 car of Christopher Flamian. So right off the start, contact for those two. Alex Albert, a clean getaway from him at the front of the field there. Jeremy Rogers holds on to second. And in third there is Daniel Bartz. But as I said, contact. And now 6th and 7th place for Linden and Flamian. Two jokers to be taken in this heat. And Jeremy Rogers has gone for that one right off the bat. So he goes into the lead, but Dylan Blanton has had a little bit of a spin coming out of the joker there. So clearly this is a difficult combination. And the racing comes up thick and fast. 6-lap heat, two jokers in this heat. And not a lot of time to recover from an error. So Jeremy Rogers, having taken a joker out the front there now, Alex Albert, he's going to hope that his two jokers that he still has to take be enough to undercut and put him back into the lead. Speaking of, he goes for one right now, so that's going to put Alex Albert back into the lead, having taken one of his two jokers. 47.0 that last lap, so the lap's coming quickly under 1 minute around here. Dirt Legends, it's an interesting little car to throw around a Rallycross course. Of course, Reddit iRacing League loves the Legends car around some road courses. That produces some interesting racing. The Dirt Legends also produce some interesting racing around a dirt oval, but here on a Rallycross course, trying to mix the two together. And so far, the racing isn't looking too bad whatsoever. These cars, they're pretty durable. They can bang doors a little bit. They're easy to get into driving, but difficult to get the absolute most out of. So Albert still leading this one, and I tell you what, he's romping away from the field right now. The best battles is further back in the field. Philip Linden, after that earlier contact that I called out, is back up into third place, but David Hall, Christopher Flamian, and Daniel Bartz, that is a fantastic battle to try and see who can secure a transfer spot to hopefully not have to work their way through the consolations, hopefully book their way straight into the feature. I believe it is the top two that will guarantee themselves a spot in the feature after this. So with my eyes now on the number 37 of Christopher Flamian, involved in that bit of contact, went for a spin in the very first lap. Now trying to recover from that, pulling out a little bit of a gap on David Hall, and Dylan Blanton in the number 26, unfortunately dropping back a teeny bit further from these guys. If I'm honest with you, I've lost track of who has taken all of their jokers yet. So, and that might well be the case for some of the drivers out there as well. They might be racing someone door to door and no, I've taken one of my jokers. How many of theirs have these other drivers taken? Lap 5 of 6 in our first heat of the day. Alex Albert's now built out a 7-second lead. Jeremy Rogers in second has about 7 seconds in hand over Philip Linden as well. Flamian now going for what I'm going to assume is his last joker. The joker lap, of course, being just a little bit, being a little bit shorter than taking the main layout. So it's good for an undercut, but if you use it early and then find yourself in traffic later and costing you time, well, maybe you could have saved it for later. But of course, with two jokers in a 6-lap race, you're taking the joker 33% of the time in these heats. Alex Albert on the last lap. Philip Linden and Christopher Flamian, well, having taken that joker, Flamian is now right behind Philip Linden, battling for the third spot. Both of them stay on the regular layout with the jump. The jump, quite difficult in these cars, difficult to get a good landing. Flamian landing heavily on the left side wheels, but he's trying to find his way past that 20 of Philip Linden around the last couple corners of this lap. Alex Albert has booked himself into the feature. So is Jeremy Rogers. His battle for third place. They're going to go door to door to the line, but I think Philip Linden just has it as they cross underneath the gantry of the finish line. Dylan Blanton is going to get himself 5th place. 6th place, I think, will be Daniel Bartz, and David Hall might just round that out. That's our first heat done, and we've got a couple more to go. We might do now, seeing as he's booked himself into the feature, is try and grab Alex Albert out of the paddock, and he might want to join me up here calling some of the action in these remaining heats. Alex, you there, mate? Good job in that first heat. We're watching this second heat. Do you see it?
Yes, I do. Yeah, it looks like they're heading into turn 1 now. Giovanni's got a nice little lead there. 19 looking on, Fawcett there in third.
Yeah, indeed, as I somehow struggle to find the action myself. Indeed, here we go. So a couple of drivers going for the Joker lap right off the front of the bat there. 6 laps in these heats and 2 Jokers. What was your strategy with that, Alex?
I was going to hold the Jokers in case to later in the race, but then the 58 went ahead and took one there on the first lap. So I tried to stay close enough. It looks like it's about a 2-second difference. So I closed it down to about 1.6 heading into the Joker. So I thought I could clear him. Ended up being able to clear him. Then just did a couple more laps. Then wanted to get the Joker done there. My second one towards the end. Oh, as you see the 19 backing in the tires in turn 1.
Yeah, so Alex Coffard's had a bit of a problem there, unfortunately. Giovanni Romano in the 99 goes for his first Joker. He had been undercut by the well-spoken man and Giovanni Romano, and Brian Molitor, but now Romano goes through the Joker, puts himself back up into second, so he's got a battle on his hands. Tom Ellison in 4th right now, Ryan Verholst in 5th, and of course the top 2 spots in this heat booking themselves into the feature. Everyone else will have to fight and scramble and claw their way through some of the remaining consolation races, and of course won't have as strong a grid slot as folks who can come out and win a heat.
I think that Fawcett's strategy might pay off here. He took his Jokers, both of them early in the race. He needs to be able to maintain this gap over Gio here, not let Gio get back within 2 seconds or so. And here we go. See Molitor with his second one. Where's this going to bring?
Going to be, I think, just between Fawcett and Romano there. So Molitor using them early as well. Romano keeping them in the bag. He is 1.3 seconds back from Fawcett, currently leading this. So Romano has a very good shot of being able to take that final Joker and grab himself into the lead, but he can't afford any mistakes. He's watching those 2 drivers in front that he needs to get past.
Yeah, I think I would go now if I'm Romano. Go ahead and dip in there. Oh, he's going to try to close the gap a little bit more. You know, whenever he takes it, he wants to make sure he comes out clear of those guys.
Yeah, exactly. He might just start to get held up by them. That means with
here comes Ellison.
That yeah, Ellison taking all those Jokers as well. Where does he come out? Door to door with Romano. So the 99 and the 27 through that final long corner on dirt. Those are the difficult ones, the really long corners on dirt. So now he's got 3 cars in front of him. Romano can't afford to tangle with these guys. On the last lap now, he's going to need to take that Joker and hope that he's still within touching distance of Fawcett, but he's now 1.6 seconds back.
I think it was a mistake. Now he's the 4th car. You know, he's going to have to try to jump 3 of them here. Ellison's all over Molitor. I think he's going to get this position. And here we go. Giovanni Romano down the Joker lane. Let's see what happens. Fawcett with a bit of a rough landing.
Of course, those top 2 spots, absolutely critical. 3rd place is not booked through. Romano jumps them all doing that, but that battle for 2nd place right now, well, Fawcett is trying to hold off Molitor. That's going to be very, very close towards the line. I was incorrect. They start the final lap now, I do believe. So Romano leading on the final lap. Going to be a big battle between Fawcett and Molitor, and potentially Tom Ellison to see who can grab that 2nd spot and transfer with a good grid spot into the feature.
Yeah, it looks like Molitor's sniffing around pretty hard. Ellison falling back a bit, but he has a good run there through the last part of this. Ooh, Fawcett with a big jump, big bounces. Yeah, see, that really cost him time there. Fawcett spent time bouncing around. Molitor was sitting flat on the ground with the loud pedal down.
Molitor's trying to take a tighter line through the long dirt corner. Not sure how it'll
Oh,
work compared to
Ellison
Molitor.
trying to get a side-by-side here.
Yeah, but to the line, I think Fawcett's absolutely got it, and Molitor's just held on from Ellison, but they made that a photo finish for the third place. Fifth is going to go to Austin Burdick. Sixth will go to Alex Coffard, I think, and unfortunately, seventh place Ryan Verhulst has had himself some issues. That was a good, exciting heat there.
Yes, let's see here who we got in the next grouping. Big Devin Peters starting on pole with Babcock, Kyle Smith, Nate Franklin, Shane Cameron, John Patrick, and looks like Antonio Alvarez will be rounding out the field. So hopefully no false starts. I think all these guys probably learned their lesson watching Heat 1.
Yeah, indeed. And of course, penalties for things like a false start is a time penalty applied after the race. So we've been calling how they cross the line, what order they cross the line in, but we'll have to go back and look later at some point. If any penalties were applied, that maybe shuffle the order around. Certainly hoping for a clean start off the line for these guys, because a few did jump it in your heat, we did see.
Yeah, it almost scared me off the line. I just had to, remain calm, let them run their race, and then once the lights came out, I knew I had all those guys.
Lights are on, a lot of drivers engaging gears. Devin Peters in the 911 on pole position. Green flag, lights go out. It's a good jump from him, but in the 549, that is a good jump as well for Kyle Smith.
And the
around
24
the
is
outside,
going to run
Franklin's
too.
going to try and go. So nearly 3 wide, and it sort of tightens and narrows into this difficult corner here. And Kyle Smith is going to grab that away from Devin Peters. Great run from him, and Nate Franklin sniffing around in the background there. Two of them, Smith and Peters, going for the Joker. They race side by side through the Joker, and Peters grabs it back.
Oh no! Smith hits the wall, and Peters gets a big slide and loses all of his advantage. And here goes Smith up the inside. Even with the damage, he's able to maintain. I was taking a look at that start, David. Devin Peters just smoked the tires way harder than the other guy. Stayed in first gear a lot longer. Looked like the 549 and the 24 both shifted in a second a lot quicker, hooked up and used that torque. We're able to get off the line a lot.
Yeah, Shane Cameron in the 74 also taking the Joker early, but it's a fantastic battle between Smith and Peters. Banging panels here, and Peters decides he needs to do something different, so he's taking his second Joker on the second lap and hoping that gets him clear of Smith and he can battle it out. Franklin also going to come through the Joker, and it looks like the re-entry onto the circuit from the Joker is very difficult. A lot of drivers getting very sideways there. Is the dirt a bit thicker? Is the steering angle too much on dirt?
I think it's getting kind of rutted out there on the racing line, and whenever you crossed it, it's almost like with a water ski when you get outside the wake. It's just getting over that wake. It's kind of tough, and sometimes grabs the wheel on you. The toughest part for me though is the exit to turn one. The car really bottoms hard in that hairpin, and the rear end wants to come around. So that's where I have to be most careful. And Peters there with a pretty good landing, but got a little bouncy. All right,
Yeah,
now we're riding with Nate.
Clear and away. Yeah, Nate Franklin in third position. Well, what can he do to try and get past Kyle Smith, try and get a spot into the feature? Devin Peters has gotten clear of Smith, building up enough of a gap that I think he'll be protected from the Joker. This battle between second and third is going to be absolutely critical. Haven't seen any reasons that any time penalties should be applied after the race, so I think it's a solid fight between Smith and Franklin.
Yeah, so I see Franklin has one more Joker to go here. Yeah, I think he could take it now and jump Smith. Oh, Smith's taking it. So Franklin's going to do something different here. Nice landing by Franklin there. That was very smooth. And that's something we'd expect at an 80. Always very easy on the equipment. Oh, as we see a battle for the lead there as the 5.9
Yeah,
and the
Smith has
9.1.
come out of that Joker right behind Devin Peters. Peters has just held on to it. Both of these guys have used both of their Jokers. There's 2 laps to go now. Smith is going to need to battle and pass him on track. He goes in very, very deep into that almost hairpin corner. Now, what can they do through the jump section? A few panels missing for Smith, but those don't matter on a car like this.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see Smith give a little bumper to Peters down here in one of these slow corners. Peters played a little rough there in the beginning, and I'm going to bet Kyle hasn't forgot yet. But Kyle just wants to get in the feature. That's the most important thing. They need to get in a scruff with the leader and end up finishing third.
Yeah, exactly. Peters goes a little bit wider through the long dirt corners and Smith takes a tighter line. I think that kind of works for him, but now Peters has built up 0.8 of a gap and is 1.2 back from Smith to Nate Franklin. Has he used his last joke? Yes, he did, didn't he? Yeah, to try and get past Smith. So that's the order as it runs. Bit offline, bit wide, bit scruffy from Smith. He's lost a teeny bit more ground to Peters. He's not going to be close enough to apply the patented Albert horn.
Yeah, so just needs to hold it tight here. Oh, and Franklin, I thought he was going to make a run up the inside, and he just lost the forward drive and getting a bit of a slide. Couldn't get the power down. Looks like he's going to come home third. And our transfer is going to be Peters and Smith. Congratulations.
Checkered flag in the air. Nate Franklin also sees it in third position, though, and he'll have to fight his way through the consolation races. Shane Cameron gets fourth. Antonio Alvarez, pardon me, fifth place for him, and sixth is going to be John Patrick. The night's not over for those guys. There's still a chance, but they haven't started off quite how they would like. Peters and Smith through the last of our 3 heats. Move on now to the C main. This is going to be 7 laps, 1 lap longer. The top 3 from this race will go into the feature and grid up behind our heat winners. Still 2 jokers, but a slightly longer race. Let's have a look at who is going to be in this event.
Yeah, so it looks like going to have Christopher Flamian starting on pole with Nate Franklin second. Austin Burdick will be third with Daniel Bartson fourth. Antonio Alvarez. Oh, and here.
Yep, so away they go. And on 37, Christopher Flamian, good start from him. But Nate Franklin, also a great start in the 24 around the outside, trying to find somewhere to go. Oh, big bump gets given to the 21. And Antonio Alvarez, again, not off to a great start. The lead belongs to Flamian. He takes the Joker. Nate Franklin in second, Austin Burdick in third. It's a bit of contact right off the bat between a couple of drivers, because this is do or die at this point. 3 drivers will find themselves transferring from this race, and Alvarez more contact with the wall, exiting the Joker. Not the heat or the C main he would have wanted.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if these guys are transferring all the way to the feature or just to the B main. They might have to race again to get in the big feature.
My reading is that the top 3 from this go into the feature. Everyone else goes into the remaining... You know what? I'm not sure, but the top 3 from this, definitely that's where you want to be.
Yeah, for sure. And with 7 laps and 2 jokers, it's going to be a pretty quick race. Just about 5 minutes here in duration. Christopher Flamian's really starting to stretch it out here.
Yeah, he took that Joker early. He's found himself a bit of space. He's found himself a rhythm, and he's now 4 seconds clear of Nate Franklin, as well and truly protected from how many Jokers Nate Franklin has remaining. Flamian just needs to hit his marks, keep it clean.
Nate's used one of them, so with this 4-second gap, he just needs to maintain this. I don't think Nate will be able to pull back much more than 2 through use of the...
Yeah, battle for third place here is interesting, though. Antonio Alvarez not had the start he wanted, but he's always a spirited racer. Now he's going to take the Joker to try and undercut David Hall in the number 10. It's a battle for third because we know the top 3 is where you want to be in this consolation race.
Oh, and Franklin has a mistake after the jump. That cost... Now he's out of the transfer position. Now Franklin is going to be all the way in...
Franklin is going to be all the way in. Franklin is going to be all the way in. Franklin is going to be all the way in. Franklin is going to be all the way in. Franklin is going to be all the way in. Franklin is going to be all the way in. Franklin is going to be all the way in. Franklin is going to be all the way in. Franklin is going to be all the way in. Franklin is going to be all the way in. Franklin is going to be all the way in. Franklin is going to be all the way in. Franklin is going to be all the way in. Franklin is going to be all the way in. Franklin is going to be all the way in. Franklin is going to be all the way in. Franklin is going to be all the way in. Franklin is going to be all the way in. Franklin is going to be all the way in. Franklin is going to be all the way in. Franklin is going to be all the way in. Franklin is going to be all the way in. Franklin is going to be all the way in. Franklin is going to be all the way in. Franklin is going to be all the way in. Franklin is going to be all the way in. Franklin is going to be all the way in. Franklin is going to be all the So the number 24 car was running very well in second place. Now back in sixth. That is a massive mistake. Really cracked under the pressure of trying to hunt down Christopher Flamion when he didn't need to because he was already going to progress.
Yeah, it's tough out there, you know. Those jumps, it just takes landing a little bit wrong, and it's kind of uncharacteristic that of Nate. We were just talking about how he doesn't make many mistakes, and maybe we gave him a bit of.
Yep, so Hall has just taken his Joker and he's going to come out around the outside of the number 21 of Antonio Alvarez. And Austin Burdick's just there behind them as there's 3 laps to go. Great run from Alvarez, is going to try and challenge Hall for second place. Number 10 car followed by the number 21. It's going to be a tighter line through here for Alvarez. Not really. He goes a bit wider, but gets the throttle open, applies a little bit of a bump, looks for the inside on the number 10. Nothing going there. Not necessarily easy to pass. What about over the jump? How will they land? Bit of a bounce for the number 10, smooth landing for the 21. So Alvarez's options of trying to hunt down Hall continue. Burdick has taken a Joker. Where's he going to come out compared to these guys? Right around the outside. Great 3-car battle for second place. He takes them. So now the battle for third place and to transfer is huge. And Alvarez has got that position over Hall, but Burdick has jumped both of them.
Yeah, that was a very masterful pass there by Mr. Burdick. Oh, as we see the 21 get a bit of a punt there. Number 10, 21 broke a little bit early, but the 10 just was not able to get it slowed down in time. Gave him a bit of a punt, and Antonio's not going to transfer, it doesn't look like.
Yeah, where I'm from, some people might call that a punt act because that was a solid whack on the steel bumpers from David Hall to Antonio Alvarez. Right behind them there, I think Daniel Bartz has had a bad landing off the jump.
As Hall spins, and now Alvarez is back in the transfer spot. We got 1 to go.
Yeah, so we've got 1 to go, and your leader, solidly, Christopher Flamion, having a good run on the mixture of the dirt and pavement. Burdick has second, and now Alvarez is back into third place. David Hall could not hold on to it. So Alvarez is pretty well clear over Nate Franklin, who's had a bit of a cleaner late race, but unfortunately that big issue off the jump earlier has cost him. That's one of the places we see you can absolutely go wrong. The dirt does not forgive. So checkered flag is going to be in the air in our C main here, and Christopher Flamion, great run from him. He's going to grab the win in this and proceed. So will Austin Burdick in second, and Alvarez, not a good first lap. He clips a tyre bundle on his way to the line, but he holds on to third. Good pace, but no consistency there, unfortunately. Nate Franklin gets fourth. Daniel Bart's currently running in fifth. David Hall is going to get sixth, and in seventh, Ryan Verhulst is not even going to take the finish. Now we move on to the B main, and we'll have a look at who's going to line up on the grid in that one. So I think the grid is going to be Tom Ellison, Jeremy Rogers, Shane Cameron, Alex Coffard, Dylan Blanton, John Patrick, Brian Molitor, and Jordan Babcock. Once again, this is 7 laps, 2 jokers, and the top 3 will progress into the feature. Everyone else is going home. It's green flag. Off they go.
Oh, and Ellison doesn't get a very good start.
Yeah, the number 58, Jeremy Rogers, goes around the outside, bit of contact. Ellison muscles him out and will hold on to the lead. But behind that, it's all going off.
Cameron, a little bit of a nudge there. Cameron had already started running. Ooh, as we see a green car, Dylan Blanton, I think, back into JP. Oh, and then he takes out Cameron. That was a lesson of not looking at the relative and waiting until the traffic came by. He needs to hold the brake.
So Rogers and Molitor have taken their joker, and they're now clear of Ellison. Someone shortcutting quite a fair bit
Ellison.
Out of something there.
That was
he might pick up a penalty for that one, unfortunately.
Yeah, he's slowing down. I think that's a slowdown, or he's just quitting. He's retired.
Wow. So not going to progress into the feature.
One up in the rage quit category for the driver number 20.
Yeah, so at 58, Jeremy Rogers leads now over Brian Molitor, who's going to have a little bit of a battle with Alex Coffard on his hands, I do think. 7 laps, 2 jokers, and some of these drivers have taken them already, some saving them as the ace in the hand for later on. A lot of argy-bargy in the first lap has cost us some time and some drivers. So Tom Ellison now out. Jordan Babcock, Dylan Blanton, and Shane Cameron all had a very, very rough first lap. But Jeremy Rogers has run very, very wide on the pavement section. Brian Molitor is right there behind
Cofford,
him.
I dive in now. Take the Joker, Cofford. Oh, I missed it. This would have been a perfect time to jump them both. He's within 2 seconds in their back.
So
Cofford
bit
has
of a
a
bumpy
one
landing.
Joker advantage on these guys.
Yeah, bumpy landing for Rogers sees him run a little bit wide. Molitor takes a tighter line on the dirt. And as these two battle, Coffard's closing them up absolutely spades and just shoveling that gap down. Door to door nearly. A little bit of a bump for the league. The 58, Jeremy Rogers still leads Brian Molitor. I think these two fighting each other, well, they're fighting for their grid in the feature, but as they battle each other, they're not going to fight for the win in this race because Coffard is right there, jokers in hand to undercut these guys, and Molitor goes for it. Coffard doesn't yet. Lap 4 of 7, he's still got time to take those jokers, and he has to. Bad landing for Rogers. Coffard is now going to have to pass him on track. I think this is what you thought he shouldn't have to do.
Yeah, this is what I would have advised on avoiding and just taking that Joker. Got to take it next lap if he doesn't get by him traditionally.
Yeah, he's now stuck
Maybe throw it
behind
up the
Rogers.
inside in a 1.
As Molitor has clean track. Well, we'll see what he does. It is a tighter line here on the pavement, I think. Bit of a slide for the 58. What can Coffard do? Just clean around the outside, and now still those jokers to take. But he's 3 seconds behind Molitor now after this. He's going to need those jokers because Molitor has got the clean track to get away. Coffard, I'm agreeing with you, should have taken those jokers earlier to get the track position.
Yeah, I think if he stays at this position, Molitor, I believe, has used both his now. So Cofford could jump him here with the consecutive jokers, but he's going to have to do it. He's run out of laps.
Yeah, precisely. But now he's past Rogers. Coffard has a little bit of clean track. He's taken down some of the gap to Molitor. It's now going to be under 3 seconds, I think. But Coffard is shaving it a little bit too close. But our top 3 will definitely be between Molitor, Coffard, and Rogers. John Patrick is just not quite close enough. Coffard, I think, is going for the first of his jokers now. Where will he come out compared to Molitor?
Yeah, I think he'll be able to jump him here on this last lap. I also think that coming out of the Joker seems to be able to carry a little bit more speed to the line. So saving the Joker there for that last lap might be a smart call.
Yep, so last lap, and now Coffard 3/10 behind Molitor. Will he pass him on track, or will he do it through the Joker? Probably a safe bet with the Joker. Not a good run on the pavement there. Coffard has clipped the wall. He'll keep it going, will he? What's the damage? That was a heavy hit. He's been spun for a 360. He's going to take the Joker, but a little bit of inattention, maybe lost his visual cues right up behind Brian Molitor. That's cost Alex Coffard potentially the win. I think he'll still transfer, but yeah, he's going to come out behind Molitor after the Joker. Alex Coffard, heavy contact on the last lap, and I think that's cost him the win in the B main.
I think you're right, David. Yeah, he spins it across the line. All right, well, David, it was fun. Getting tapped here by my media person. I got to go down. It's time to do warm-ups for the feature.
Thanks so much for joining us. Up in the commentary booth, Alex Albert. And so Brian Molitor was the winner there in that B main. He progresses. So does Alex Coffard in second place and Jeremy Rogers in third. Everyone else, John Patrick, Dylan Blanton, Shane Cameron, Jordan Babcock, and Tom Ellison, pack it up into the hauler, boys, and I guess go get ready for Game of Thrones or whatever. Now we get ready for the feature race, the big one. It's going to be 12 laps, it's going to be 9 laps. It's also going to have 2 jokers. And to call this action, joining me now is Aaron Thacker. Aaron, Rallycross, are you a fan, yay or nay? Because it's thrown up some very interesting action and some unpredictable racing so far.
David, it has been an absolute blast to hear this broadcast. Unfortunately, Babs Nation traffic has really got me out this race, David. So many Babs Nation members were coming to this track that I was just stuck in traffic here. So I've been listening to the broadcast remotely, and my goodness, this has been so much fun to listen to. And this main is going to be a truly wild combination, David. Regardless of whether I think this is an okay combination or not, my goodness, is this fun to listen to, and wow, even more fun to watch.
Yeah, it all happens very quickly. It gets your heart going. So it's just 30 seconds left in this warm-up session that lets our feature drivers and the ones, especially the ones who qualified straight through from the heats, get readjusted with the track, as of course the dirt gets thrown around. The lines through some of the dirt corners and over the jump will have changed. But let's have a look at who is going to be on the grid for our feature race.
Yeah, we've got just the man in the booth just a moment ago. Alex Albert is in P1 position for this final spot, followed by Giovanni Mano. Many championship implications with these top 2 spots here. Devin Peters, P3. Philip Linden, P4. A well-spoken man in P5. Kyle Smith, P5. Chris Fleming, P6. Brian Malter, P7. Austin Burdick, P8. Austin Burdick, P9, Alec Crawford, P10, Antonio Alvarez, P11, and Jeremy Rogers rounding out this final heat in P12.
And the warm-up is over. We get ready to place those 12 cars on the grid for this 9-lap race. It's the most cars we've had on the grid together so far tonight, and that means it's going to be mayhem as these drivers fight it out. Who saves their jokers for later? Who decides to take one on the first lap? 9 laps of door-to-door Dirt Legends Rallycross action ahead of you here on HJBC with Reddit iRacing League. We're getting ready to get it underway, and I am anxious as anything. They get underway, green flag waves. It's going to be a 3-wide run to the first RiL corner. RG 20, the number 20 car gets turned. Philip Linden has some problems. Quite a few drivers coming together in the background there. Alex Albert holds on to the lead from Giovanni Romano, who goes for a joker. Our top 2 stay out, but quite a few drivers do jump for it.
Yeah, David, I'm trying to figure out what happened there. I mean, it looked like a hornet's nest of bees, or it could be a hornet's nest traveling into that first corner, the big group. So we're still waiting for the field to sort out before we can give an accurate reading of where everybody is. Right now on my timing screen, it looks like Alex Albert is in P1 and Devin Peters.
Huge contact, Devin Peters. And one of the other drivers there, Alex Albert, was far enough ahead that the drivers who took their joker came out right behind him, bottled everyone up, and Peters heavy into the barrier. Didn't quite catch in the moment who else was tagged up in that. But now Albert and Romano carrying on. Alex Coffard's now in third in a big battle for 4th place. Molitor muscles his way past Smith, but Alvarez, Burdick, that lot are all there. It's absolutely shaking up as drivers take the joker.
Yeah, it really is. And we watched Alex Albert take his joker. Looks like we have a few more. David, we're really watching this line. We're in number 19 again. Alex Crawford with a big moment. He has not had a good start to this race, but this mid-pack is really tightening up with Kyle Smith in P6 and Well-Spoken Man in P7. So my goodness, David, this middle pack here is very tight with Alex Albert still remaining in the lead.
And of course, this is the feature race. They're not battling to transfer. They're battling for points in the championship. Giovanni Romano's 4 seconds back from Alex Albert. He dives through the joker right now. That's not going to be enough to catch him up all of that margin. Albert will hold on to something. It's Alvarez and Burdick battle for 3rd place as well. And of course, behind that, Molitor getting a bit clear of Smith, who is now clear of Andrew Fawcett.
Yeah, I'm watching Antonio Alvarez is just holding out against Austin Burdick. He had about a half a second gap here. This is going to be one of our closer battles on track. And right now, Austin Burdick as well as Jeremy Rogers, a very tight group here, David. So as you mentioned, 2 jokers here, 2 opportunities to gain a few spots. And it looks like these guys right now are really looking to dig into this. David, I'm trying to see who has taken some of those jokers. We've seen Alex Albert. Who else has also taken a joker so far in this race?
Not 100% sure. Definitely, I think we saw Molitor come through for at least one Joker earlier in the race. Order shuffles up as a few more drivers like Fawcett comes through for the Joker now. And so too does Brian Molitor for another one, I think, as well. Door to door through the long dirt hairpin. And Brian Molitor is the winner out of those lot. Smith, Cofford, and Peters with their own battle right behind that as well.
Yeah, it really is. David, I know this is a very, very quick race, but my goodness, Antonio Alvarez is up 8 spots in this race. So he started in that beehive and has really worked his way out. He's taking a Joker right now to hopefully potentially gain some positions on Antonio Alvarez. Again, this is not entirely a quicker round, but you can get, as you said, you can carry a little more speed off of this. So, but David, he doesn't take it so right. So Antonio Alvarez, not a very good estimate there. Antonio Alvarez still maintains that gap between Giovanni Romano and P2.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of drivers have struggled with the return onto the circuit from the Joker. Different conditions than on the main lap, and that has put Alvarez quite close to Romano, but I believe Romano still has a Joker in hand to use, which is 3 seconds behind Alex Albert, who I believe has taken all of his. So the top 3 is Albert, Romano, Alvarez. But behind that, Molitor's gotten clear of Burdick just a little bit. And Fawcett holding on to 6th, Flamion in 7th, Rogers and Peters battling for 8th and 9th, but I'm sure Peters is carrying a little bit of damage because he had a huge hit to one of the tyre bundles.
Yeah, these tire bundles, they may look innocent, but man, you make some contact. Oh, and Alex Cofford again has had a big moment with a very unsettling bounce on that. And Kyle Neverlift Smith has moved up to P11 and continues to hunt Philip Linus. So, David, the back of the pack continues to shuffle around. And Kyle Smith really struggling for grip coming out of that section right there.
Yeah, we've seen Smith can be quick. He's now trying to chase down Philip Linden, who got spun on first lap. Pretty durable cars, and of course on dirt you can wrangle your way around a little bit of suspension issues. Smith is going to try and close that up. Romano took his final Joker and has nothing to answer for Alex Albert's pace. Smith goes for a Joker. That jumps him past Linden. He's going to come out very close to the battle, Devin Peters and Jeremy Rogers, but Smith spins it, coming back onto the Joker, loses a spot to Linden, loses a spot to Alex Coffard. Kyle Smith now dead last once again. Got 2 laps to go in our feature race.
You hate to see that for Neverlift Smith, but David, let's go back to P8. Devin Peters with a fantastic outside pass on Jeremy Rogers. He passed him in the loose stuff, not necessarily some of the area that is a bit more compact and maybe even a bit rubbered in. Passed him on the loose stuff, so great pass by Devin Peters. So Devin Peters right now is still down 5 spots, David. He's really working hard to try and get some of this back, but my goodness, he's got a lot in front of him with just, again, about 2 laps to go.
Yep, your leader on the last lap now. Alex Albert has seen the white flag. I'm not sure they actually wave one in Rallycross, but I'm using it as a figure of speech. He's 5 seconds clear of Romano, who's 4 seconds clear of Antonio Alvarez. Great battle for 4th place. Austin Burdick is right up behind Brian Molitor, but hasn't been able to find a way through. They both go for their last Joker on the last lap. Where will that put them relative to Antonio Alvarez? Will they jump him for 3rd place? They come out of the Joker onto the loose stuff, and around goes the 04, contact with the 07. And so Antonio Alvarez will hold on to 3rd place because contact between Burdick and Molitor. Burdick gathers it up quicker. He'll hold on to 4th place. Brian Molitor back into 5th. And they were so close to Alvarez coming out of the Joker as well. Great job by Alvarez to hold on to that. Christopher Flamion's battling with Rogers for 6th place, and they're going to come across the line in that order. Then it's Peters and Fawcett.
David, that was absolutely exhausting to watch here. Yeah, just like you said, Alex Albert is going to come away with the victory here. P1 and Giovanni Romano, P2, Antonio Alvarez, P3, Austin Burdick, P4, Brian Molitor rounding out our top 5. Behind that, Chris Fleming, P6, Jeremy Rogers, P7, Devin Peters, P8, Well-Spoken Man, P9, Philip Linden, P10, Alex Cofford, P11, and Kyle Smith, which is a very, very difficult race, rounding out our full grid of 12 cars and finishing at P12.
Yeah, exactly. The action happens so quickly with these angry little revvy dirt midgets around a rallycross course. But I think this experiment has been a success because the racing was exciting, heart-stopping, and we definitely saw that some skills on display, the transition from dirt to the pavement over the jumps, and when to take the Joker, just a little bit of strategy. So, Aaron, let's go probe the paddock area and see if we can grab some of those drivers. I think we could look for the top 3 in our feature.
Yeah, I was able to grab the racer slash part-time announcer, Alex Albert. David, he is all yours.
Oh, I think I've spoken to him plenty already so far this broadcast. I reckon you and Alex can have a chat.
Absolutely. Well, Alex, I appreciate you doing some very efficient and very well done double duty tonight. You pretty much dominated that feature race, Alex. What is about this combination that pretty much just, I said, speaks to you?
I don't know. I've just been kind of looking forward to it all season. I was a little bit worried going into it. I know some of the guys have been practicing, and I just didn't have any time to practice. So I was a little worried that I might not be able to win the one I'd been looking forward to, but I was. And like you said, it was a pretty dominant performance tonight, fastest in practice, dominant qualifying lap, and then just controlled the races from there and was able to get max points. So feel really good about it. Not sure why it comes to me better, but I think maybe it's growing up on gravel roads and in snowy conditions. This isn't the first time I've slid a car around.
Now, Alex, it's absolutely, I think, lack of a better word, entertaining to see this car catch air. What does that car feel like, and what does it feel like when you were going over this jump in this car and that landing? This car is obviously not built with a extensive amount of suspension travel. What is it like going over the jump in this car?
It's rather harrowing. I just started to figure it out there towards the end of the main. To where I could land level. I was nosing down a lot, and I'm surprised I didn't break the car. But yeah, I saw some spins in some of the heats, and so I'm just glad it didn't happen to me. It definitely could, landing on one wheel first, and then it just, you can lose control easily. So luckily, didn't make any mistakes tonight and was able to keep it straight.
Well, Alex, we appreciate you very much doing some double duty tonight, and we know that again, your race is always, or your mind is always on IRL, but your mind is elsewhere this week with a very big event coming up here in the next weekend with your real life racing team.
Yeah, so we've been going up to Watkins Glen for the Champ Car Endurance Series race. And anyone's in the area, stop by, check us out. We're Team Huge Ass, and stop by our pits. And if you can't be there locally, follow us on Twitter, Instagram. We'll be on YouTube streaming live in car. And one more thing I want to say, though, before we go, is last week I was so disappointed with second place that I forgot to tell my mom Happy Mother's Day. So I wanted to make up for it this week, win a race for her instead of a crummy second place. So this one's for you, Mom. Happy Mother's Day a week late.
Well, that is some very wholesome shout outs. And Alex, we absolutely wish you best of luck with the racing team. David, let's see who else we can grab here. I am not seeing Giovanni Romano in the paddock, David. So it looks like Antonio Alvarez is going to be our next opportunity for an interview. So, David, Antonio Alvarez is all yours.
Antonio, well done. Third place in the feature race, but you took the very long way to get there. Not really qualifying through the heats and just only qualifying for the feature at the last minute.
Yeah, that was out of the blue. Everything, no preparation at all. Just what it came out and it worked.
How difficult is the Dirt Legends car around the Rallycross? Does it work well, or is it maybe too loose on the dirt or too tight on the pavement?
I think it's pretty good actually. The hardest part in the circuit was the jump. Especially when it landed, it was almost lost it every time. But in the dirt was fine. Just after a couple of laps, it was pretty drivable.
You gained 8 positions in the feature race, from 11th on the last row of the grid to a podium finish. Do you think you just were cleaner than everyone else who had mistakes, or did you take the jokers at the right time, or did you just have more pace?
Well, the pace was not the reason. It was stay clean, especially in the first lap when it was mayhem, and then just trying to stay away from everybody. So that was the key for the Jokers.
Well, congratulations. Good race, good points for you, and nice to see you standing on the podium in Reddit iRacing League again.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Well, who else do we have? Aaron Thacker. We've gone down to 4th place in our feature race. So we haven't had a word with Giovanni Romano. So Aaron Thacker will have a word with Austin Burdick in the 07 car, our 4th place finish.
Austin Burdick, it's a pleasure to have you in the booth, sir. Very, very consistent night for you. Going out in Heat 2 with a starting position of P2 to P4, then really upping your game up in the remaining heats to work your way up to a P4 position tonight, sir. Really enjoyed watching your drive. Talk about your night.
Well, first couple heats were a bit of a struggle for me. First time I went out there, I missed the shift completely and got a wreck right away on the start. Looks like someone else just got loose into me, and that was a bit of a struggle, but just felt like I had a good pace in this somehow and worked our way to the front. And in that last one, we had a pretty interesting battle going on to the end. Looked like third would have been a really interesting race, but me and Molitar just got together. He wanted a bit more shallow of an entry, and I was just there, and it sucks, but, that Rallycross, man, that's just what happens.
Yeah, I think you definitely said it. Just Rallycross, man. Austin, talk us through the start. I mean, it looks like just an entire, somebody took a handful of cars, threw them on a track. You guys pretty much grid 4 wide. What is it like going into that first corner? How much respect and how much confidence do you have to take into that to make sure you maintain the position you need without losing too much?
Well, you got to take it pretty safe, and there was plenty of us that were let off the gas in turn 1, but we did go 3 wide in the turn 2 in one of the heats, and you just got to try to be safe enough to, give everyone space, but you can't, dive it in there and try to hit anyone. You just got to take it safe. The car's going to take enough damage on the jumps. You just got to try to run it around the track pretty clean.
We hear. Well, Austin Burdick, I say you're mid pack on the points, sir, but I think that tonight's points haul is going to be something you're really going to enjoy. I think you're going to see yourself move up a few spots tonight, sir. So fantastic drive. Really enjoyed seeing you do it. Any thanks or shout outs before you head out of the booth?
Thank you all for running the whole thing. It's been pretty fun to do that, and I've had a pretty interesting week, and this is definitely a big up for that.
Fantastic. Well, awesome. We appreciate having you up here, sir. Congratulations on your race tonight. We hope to see you back in the booth soon. David, that was a beyond interesting evening of racing, something we don't really see with these cars, but it sounds like everybody else had themselves a heck of a time on track.
Yeah, exactly. Runs you out of breath, makes your heart run too fast. There's always something happening in Rallycross, that's for sure. And I think this experiment, Dirt Legends around Rallycross, has absolutely been a success. I'd give it a good chance we see it again on the Reddit iRacing League calendar. Maybe not next season. You can have too much of a good thing, but certainly I don't think anyone would complain too loudly if they saw it on the schedule again. Now, of course, no Reddit iRacing League next weekend. It's Memorial Day weekend and a lot of people out of town, that kind of thing. So no Reddit iRacing League next weekend, but we'll be back with coverage on the 2nd of June because that's going to be an interesting one with the V8 Ford Falcon around Charlotte Oval. Australian V8 supercars on an oval. That's also going to be a rather unique combination that we don't know how will go, but that's Reddit iRacing League for you. We hope you'll join us for that one. Our producer doing a fantastic job, Michael Derby. I'm David Haynes, and alongside me here was Aaron Thacker, and of course Alex Albert also joining us up here in the commentary booth. If you're short of action to watch next weekend, though, I don't imagine many people will be, but absolutely tune in here to Huge Ass, though, because we will have live onboard coverage of the Champ Car Endurance Series on board with our number 337 Mazda Miata. We'd love to have you join us for that one as we return to Watkins Glen for the 2nd year in a row. hoping for a good result in A-Class for our car. Thanks so much for tuning in to Reddit iRacing League, and we'll see you, pardon me, we'll see you again soon.